Welcome to the PT Marketing Power Hour, highlighting successful marketing strategies from North America's fastest growing clinics so you can learn from their wins and power your practice growth. We have another great episode today, so don't forget to hit subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Now, here's your host, physical therapist, marketing expert, and CEO of Practice Promotions, Neil Trickett.
Hello, and welcome to the PT Marketing Power Hour, highlighting successful strategies from North America's fastest growing clinics so you can learn from their wins and power your practice growth. I'm your host, Neil Trickett, CEO of Practice Promotions, and today's focus, we're going to talk about the secrets of patient marketing for referrals and reactivations, and we're joined here by Billy Boudreau here from Comprehensive Physical Therapy. Welcome, Billy. Great to have you on the show here.
Thank you.
Great. And so, Billy, you're in the New Orleans area, right? Kind of north of Lake Pontchartrain. Is that right?
Pontchartrain, yep.
Yeah, excellent. And so I understand you have quite a bit extensive experience, very manual therapy trained, and a fellow there in osteopathic advanced. I never know how to pronounce the whole thing. How do you say that?
Orthopedic certified specialist, and then Fellowship American Association American Orthopedic Physical Therapist, manual physical therapist.
There you go. Awesome. Yeah.
So confused now too.
so fantastically trained there. Obviously gets excellent results with your patients, and that's a great marketing side of things too, to attract patients to why you're special, right? Why you can help them. So welcome, Billy. Can you tell us a little bit about your practice? And
we opened up in October of 2020. We opened our doors actually October 6th. I was building it during COVID. I had the hopes and dreams to open a practice, and then COVID kind of spearheaded that when I was furloughed for about 6 weeks. Also had a baby right around that same time, and had the choice of helping to rebuild the practice that I was currently in, or finally just bite the bullet, jump off, and start growing my own practice. So opened up in October 2020. I started getting executive management training in July of 2020. I told them I didn't want to make the same mistakes that people have made in the past and waste $100,000 doing that, making those mistakes. So I started paying for coaching, paying for training right out of the gate. One of those things that they had me doing was reaching out to people and communicating with as many people, even if they don't know me. As long as we're communicating in agreeable manner, they'll get to know me.
Yeah.
Right.
That's awesome. So, I mean, gosh, starting up in probably one of the most challenging times in business history, right? And having another kid there, right? So definitely a lot of life pressure on you to get things rolling there. But look, you've done fantastic where you are. And then I love that you went into it with that thought of, hey, I need to train myself better, right? I don't want to make the mistakes that are commonly made, right? In starting up a business. So that's fantastic. And also that kind of networking part, especially for a new practice or sometimes even a new location, right? Just being able to start to connect with some of the thought leaders in the community and others, and start to get your name out there, right? That's really, really critical.
Yep.
So over time, you obviously built the practice, you built your customer list. And so let's talk a little bit about sort of your philosophy of keeping that patient relationship going.
So keeping patient relationship going is just staying top of mind as much as possible with them. So we finish up with a patient, that doesn't mean that they're gone from our practice forever. So we try to stay in communication with them through multiple different avenues. We actually just got to the number where we can start sending them newsletters. When I signed on with you guys, you said, nope, y'all are too small. You don't have a list big enough. It wouldn't be worth it, which I actually really appreciated you guys saying that, because I didn't want to be wasting my money anymore doing stuff that wasn't working. And you told me this isn't the best bet for you. Go with our middle tier option. And then once you grow a little bit bigger, you can start doing the newsletters and the mail outs and all of that. But for me, it started just by marketing through emails to my past patients. I sent out some of my own newsletters initially to some of them that we handmade on PowerPoint or whatever my wife made them on. So we sent those out to a list of 200, 300, 400 people. I actually ended up buying a list, was mailing out to a few people that had no idea who I was. Just here we are, here's what we do, that kind of stuff. We send letters out to all of our past patients on a regular basis just to check in with them, make sure they're doing good, doing okay. But the largest number of mail outs has been coming from our email campaigns.
Awesome. So let's kind of unpack that a little bit, right? Because you're doing a lot of successful actions here, but the main theme comes back to caring about your patients, right? And they've obviously had a great experience when they came into you, helped them through overcoming pain, improving their function, and it's just a common thing for us in PT that we think, hey, they're all better. They're going to be fine. If they need to get me in the future, they can come back, right?
Right.
But we don't realize that it takes a lot of work to maintain those relationships because people are busy. Right? People are busy, and there's a lot of stuff that comes at them in their lives. And there's so many times when we have a patient come back in and they've been suffering with their knee pain or their back pain again for months, and they just took them. It just took to that breaking point where they needed to then overcome that and then start to come back in, right, or reach out. And sometimes it's not to us. Sometimes it's to, they thought, oh, well, you know what, it's come back. Maybe PT didn't work. Maybe I need to go some other solution, right, or maybe go back to my doctor. And then we lose that opportunity to try and help them again. Right. And we know that sometimes it's just a simple, hey, maybe they got weak again, or maybe they're
or a simple, hey, life happens, you slept on it wrong again.
Exactly, right. All this kind of stuff
again.
So the thing that I've always tried to communicate out there is that you develop this emotional bond, right, in the clinic, right, and we've got to maintain that, and time will kill that over some time, but you'll get the people come back in that are really connected to you. But if you're not constantly providing useful information to them, you kind of, go out of sight, out of mind. So obviously you saw that you're doing the right thing there. And then, to me, what's really cool about what you've been approaching it as is sort of multimedia marketing, right? So not just one channel of marketing. So not just relying on email. You saw that, hey, I need to send some letters to my patients here, maybe some phone calls, like different things like that, right? From doing email marketing out there, for example, let's start with that. So from email marketing, you said you send some newsletters. What kind of other things would you typically send from your email?
So from emails, it's just informational. They're very, very short. So the blogs that we've got up on our website, which y'all are handling all my blogs now. I used to write them and spend a lot of time doing that, but I would take just a short snippet of those blogs, maybe a paragraph or 2 paragraphs, and just put them into an email. And then at the bottom of the email, there's always that small little, here's what we do, if you do feel like you need help right now. But the gist of the email wasn't come see us, come see us, come see us, come see us. The gist of the email was, here's what low back pain is. Here's what it typically feels like. Here's some direction that you can do, maybe some exercises that you can do to fix it. Oh, physical therapy will help with that. If you want more information, here's our website. So the whole goal with our emails has been to drive patients or potential patients to our website.
So just like a gentle introduction, right? Or gentle reintroduction, right?
Very gentle, always agreeable statements. Shoulder pain, describing what a frozen shoulder is. Ankle pain, describing a sprained ankle, and information that they might be Googling anyways. We're just trying to put it into their email inbox.
Just kind of curious, from your work there, have you had any situations where, let's say, someone had sprained their ankle originally, right, and then they came in for something different because they read something that you were putting out?
No, I wouldn't say I get a lot of that. Sometimes I get people reaching out because I'll send an email that says they get piriformis pain. So the subject line is pain in the butt. And so they'll reach out and say, hey, I've got that. Do you think that you can help me? And of course, yes. Yes, we can help. But recurrent patients, I try to have the conversations with them when they come in for back pain. Hey, we treat ankle pain, we treat knee pain. So they're aware that we do all of that stuff too. Yeah.
Great. So you're having those conversations in the clinic. That's kind of pre-framing it. That's fantastic too. So that's something for the audience out there. Like, that's a training point you could have with your therapist, right? Are they in their conversations with patients? Maybe they're seeing them for, a neck problem, but they might see someone else with a knee, like, oh yeah, we treat all kinds of issues from feet on up, right? And sometimes people don't put that together, that you just because you're working on their neck, that you also treat knees or shoulders and things like that.
Right. And we coach our team on the best times to have those conversations with their patients. When the patients are saying they just had a win, they just made X number of improvements in their, whether range of motion or their function, or they're getting to sleep for the first time through the night, we coach them to say, so you're recognizing that what we're doing is helping, and who else you know that we can help that has any of these problems.
That's awesome. Yeah. So it's not all about you, right? It's all about your team asking the similar kind of questions, right? And that's what helps stimulate those patient referrals, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then so, coming back to the emails here, have you, that was a really funny subject line that you put in. Is there any other subject lines that you've experimented in that you found to work well?
I get the most responses from that. I probably also get the most unsubscribes from that one.
Okay.
I'm used to it by now. We probably, for every email we send out, we get maybe one unsubscribe, but I'm sending out to about 2,000.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
People. So 20% open rate. If I get one unsubscribe, they weren't going to come in anyways.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's okay. You recognize that again, it's okay to have those things. You don't want to have a lot, right? But expect some, right? Because they're not going to come back in, or they might have been that grumpy patient to begin with, right?
Right.
So that's good to see that. And then I love that you've kind of experimented with subject lines too, because it's all about getting the people to first receive it, right? So that comes with how the systems are and the servers and all those kind of things,
right?
And then to get them to look at it, right? And get them to open it, right? And that comes down to the subject line, and ideally the first sentence of the email is what sticks
Making
out.
it attractive for them, something that they can agree with, that they recognize. Oh, I've heard of that before. My shoulder has been hurting.
Yeah.
They open this.
Yeah. And I like too that one thing that you had with that subject line is that you brought a little humor to it. Right. And so have you found that to work too? Have you tried some other kind of humorous stuff?
I've never dove into it and looked which subject lines are the humorous ones. Is that working better? Y'all may know more about that than me, if that catchy humorous one gets more open rates than others. But
yeah, it's a balance, right? There's a balance in this. There's times when it's appropriate and times when it's not appropriate, right? But if you can weave a little bit of humor into your marketing, it does make people like to laugh, right? So it does make people stick a little bit, but you use it when it's as much as you can, but within consideration, right?
Sure.
Yeah. And then obviously you created some of your own internal content with the Engage email system there. So can you give us some examples of other types of content that you put together? You said some newsletters, but anything specific come to mind?
They're using Engage?
Yeah, any different kind of specific email templates or
it's
subjects?
Pretty much just been the blogs and newsletters. I'm going to transition away from, not transition away, but I'm going to start using Engage to attract new therapists as well.
Okay.
I'll get a list of patients. The nice thing I like about Engage is y'all are offering unlimited emails. And I was paying $90 a month, and it was about to go up with Constant Contact. Just email out what I've been emailing out. It's around that for MailChimp, but with Engage, I'm able to get a limited number of emails. They're clean, they're getting into inboxes, and the open rate it's doing really good. So I know that it's working. So I'm actually going to start taking advantage of it more, just as our clinic continues growing and I need another therapist coming on board. I'm going to start using it for that as well. So we can have multiple different campaigns, not just attract the new patients, but using the same campaign to attract a new therapist as well.
That's a great idea, right? Yeah. I mean, I remember when I had my practice in Florida, we had the same thing. We needed to recruit, and
Mhm.
I mean, it's really hard to find a therapist now. Back then it was hard to find a therapist too, because it was a high demand area.
Mhm.
Only a few schools that were pumping out therapists. So we had to market aggressively. And so I know that's a big thing for a lot of practices today is the hiring component, right? Bringing
Right.
people in and, acquiring good talent or retaining good talent, all of those things. But I love the approach to that, because sometimes we just rely on, say, like Indeed or one of these kind of,
Mhm.
you know, um, resume solutions
Then
out
you're only
there.
getting people that are looking for a new job if you're going
Mhm.
with Indeed.
Yeah,
Or maybe
exactly.
somebody's content with where they're at, but they don't know what else is available out there.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, that's your better candidate, right? Someone
yeah,
that is,
yeah.
actively out
Somebody's
there.
happy with where they're at, but we can offer them a fun atmosphere, a different place to work, or they're something like that.
Mhm. Yeah, so email marketing is key, because you can have, as long as you can get that list, right? Build that list, and depending on
Mhm.
your state, sometimes that's easy to get
Yep.
from the state board.
Louisiana
Uh,
offers it.
yeah, that's great.
Yep.
Same thing when we were in Florida. We had the email, but also the direct mail. And what
Mhm.
we did back then was we'd actually, our patient newsletter, our practice newsletter that we put out direct mail, we'd send that out to our patients every month. And then every third month, we'd actually include the list of therapists
I
into
like
that.
that.
So they'd get just, it's like a branding, like, what's this, and they see what's going on in the clinic and stuff. So it just kind of was a good PR move there.
Yeah,
And then you could have more direct emails, more direct kind of postcard just for hiring part of it. But the PR part of it, we sent our newsletter too, which was pretty good.
I like that. I'm gonna talk to
Mhm.
Holly about that.
Yeah, there you go. Good. Um, so obviously you're trying some new things there, different lists, different
Mhm.
audiences, using it for different purposes. That's awesome. So let's coming back to leveraging your customer list, right? Your patients, right? And I
Yep.
always tell practice owners, like, this is the gold mine of your practice. And it's amazing how many practice owners I talk to that really don't do much marketing to their customer list. They just sort of expect them to come back. And it's like, whoa, like, if you put some effort there, you can get a substantial amount of people not only coming back for care, but sending their friends and sending their family,
Right.
right?
Yep.
And so you started doing patient newsletters. Can you tell us a little bit about, that?
With the ultimate package,
Mhm.
yeah, so the goal with patient newsletters is just to get reactivations. The emails, it's worked, but my patients they got them from day one that they started with our company as a patient. And so with the newsletters, I want something sitting on on their table that just sits there for a week. And that's what I'm loving about the newsletters. They're very attractive, they're sleek, they're very well made. Um, Kudos to you for that. But they're very well made, and they have something fun to do in them, whether it's a recipe or a Sudoku puzzle inside of them. So I'm finding that patients are saying they're not throwing them away. They're just sitting there, and then when they need them, they call and they schedule. Or by the time they do throw it away, the next one's coming in a week or so. So we're always able to, with that, stay front of mind, similar to what we're trying to do with the emails. I mean, I'm sending emails out daily to our past patients just to try to stay front of mind. I don't know the specific stats with it, but it takes only a certain number of maybe minutes or hours before your emails are buried.
Mhm.
So in order to stay at the top of the inbox, got to send them another email.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, in today's world, digital world, right? There's
Mhm.
that we're swamped, we're inundated with
Right.
emails and posts on social media, notifications from Facebook, right? All kinds of stuff that's popping up on your phone all the time. Um, Print actually has a huge worth today that's growing more and more than it ever was in the past, because it's a different medium now that a
Mhm.
lot of people they pay more attention to, right?
Right.
And there were some neat Canadian post studies that were done. Um, they actually looked at like EEGs while people were observing stuff on the screen, right?
Mhm.
Marketing from maybe an email or a website. And then they also did that with how they interacted with physical print mail, right? Direct mail. And so the actual cognitive experience is completely different when you have a tangible item in your hands, right? And so that's why you get all kinds of catalogs and stuff in the mail because
Right.
it works, right?
It works.
You
Right.
need to have that layered approach.
Right.
Yes, you're going to put a little bit more money towards print and postage to send out a physical piece, but it has a very different effect on people when they receive that in their mailbox, right? Compared to if they see it on a screen. And if they
Yes.
see it on a screen and in your mailbox, it's a big reinforcing behavior, get people to take action. And that's what ultimately we're trying to do, right? You're trying to get people to take action, to
Right.
do something, to call us again, to remind their friend or family member, hey, you should go get this looked at, go call these people. That's what we're trying to do with that whole action, right?
Yep.
And so you mentioned some things in the newsletters there that's fun, right? So obviously you have some useful tips in there, but you also put some things that get it to be sticky, right? And stick
Right.
around on people's desks, right? So some
Yeah.
recipes or a puzzle exercise tip.
Mhm.
One thing that I've seen some of our clients be very creative with is that they'll actually have one of the therapists do a quick YouTube video, like an exercise tip of the week or a month or something like that. They'll put it up on YouTube, and then we can QR code it in the newsletter. So from that direct mail, get a lot of people, patients that will scan it to go
Yeah.
watch that YouTube video, right? And again,
Okay.
it's just a great interactive mesh between the physical world and the digital
Right.
world, right?
Yep. No, I like that. It's another way to bring them into that funnel
Yeah.
of our website to get them to learn more about us.
And do you do other things within your newsletters too? Like do you show patient successes or testimonials, things like
We
that?
do. Yep. We do the testimonials. And we'll put the picture of the therapist with the patient. We'll use the patient's first name, last initial. So that it's very real to people that we're treating real people. We're treating real problems.
Yeah.
And we're using their words that they got better.
Awesome. Yeah, because it comes back to that social proof, right? So again,
Yep.
people love stories. That's why we
Yeah.
go on social media, right? To see other people's stories. So
Yep.
you want to do the same thing within your patient newsletter. You want to have tips and advice and fun things like that. But it's really a vehicle to tell the messages from within the clinic.
Yep.
So those patient successes, staff wins, maybe
Staff wins. I took my staff out to one of those escape rooms. So we escaped it and we took a picture afterwards. And so we
Yeah.
posted that on this month's newsletter.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, showing the culture, right? That's fantastic. People love that. It's a fun place to go to. They remember it was a great time when they came to you, right? So that you're reinforcing that. That's fantastic. I always remember when I was doing patient newsletters in my practice, our best performing issue ever was a picture. My wife was pregnant. We had a photo of the family. And my daughter, she was probably like maybe a year and a half at that point, right? So cute baby pictures, golden, right?
Yeah.
People love that.
Yeah.
All kinds of phone calls came in from that, which was fantastic.
I try to limit the number of pictures of my kids that I use. We've done that before. We have.
Yeah.
Now I'm throwing my dog in there a lot. Yep.
Yeah, we get clinics do that too, which is a lot of fun. Yeah. So again, the thing is you're trying to keep that connection going to your patients. You want to email them, you want to connect with them on social, you want to be sending them things in direct mail, you want to be calling them. So wherever you can keep that relationship going with your past patients is the most critical thing. Gosh, I've been doing practice newsletters here for 20 something years, right? Both in my practice, and then now we get to send out almost over 4 million direct mail pieces for clinics all across the US. And so we see what works, right? And we know what works with this. And that's why I really encourage clinics to do that part, because it works really well in conjunction with everything else.
It's been very helpful. We started with it 4 or 5 months ago, and I don't know if you've looked at our stats since we started with you guys, since we started with the newsletters, but there's been a noticeable change when we joined when we joined Practice Promotions, and when we actually started with the newsletters as well. So
awesome. Love to hear that. That's glad to be part of that with you and helping you get there. And obviously it's a testament to the great care and skill that your therapists are providing to your patients and getting great results. Because when you get great results, it's much easier to market, right?
Speaks for itself. That's right.
Absolutely.
Then you get tiny little salespeople going out there into the world.
Got it. And how's your experience been working with practice promotions?
It's been great. It's been very easy. Alex has been my account manager for the last probably 6 or so months now. And she's great. I call her up anytime I have a question. Otherwise, I just a lot of communication through Basecamp, through email.
Mm-hmm.
So usually
Great.
she's communicating with me more than I'm communicating with her, though. So
Okay, gotcha. And then have you done anything else internally in the clinic? Do you give any kind of handouts or anything like that? I'm just kind of curious if you do anything internally for marketing for patient referrals.
as far as handouts go,
Mhm.
through practice promotions, we used to do some postcards, but no, nothing really handouts in the clinic. We just got some t-shirts. We're starting to do some fun stuff with t-shirts. So giving those out day one and then doing a drawing. So encouraging people to wear them when they come in.
Oh yeah, you're doing a wear it to win it.
Got to wear it to win it.
Cool.
So instead of waiting
can you-
till their last day, hey, here's a shirt for graduating, wear this someday. Now we're putting it on 2-3 times a week.
That's a great game. So can you tell us a little bit about that game for people that are not running a wear to win it game?
Yeah. So we give them a t-shirt day one and we just encourage them, hey, wear your shirts on the day you come in for therapy, and you can put your name in for a drawing for a gift certificate or a gift card for, we do $10 for a Smoothie King or like a Jamba Juice.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you have Smoothie Kings up for
Yep.
where you're at, but yeah, so $10 for Smoothie King. All you have to do is wear your t-shirt on the days that you come in.
Awesome. This is a great.
The hope and goal is that they wear it all day long, but I've got people in their dress shirts with a t-shirt on over.
Put it on top.
You know what? It's fun. It's fun.
That's fun. Yeah. So I just got to reiterate on that for people that haven't tried that. I used to do that in my practice too, wear it to win it game, and it works really well. So basically, like you said, you give a t-shirt out when they start, and then you'd let them know, like, hey, if you can wear this when you come on in, we'll put your name in the bowl and you'll get we'll pull a name to win a prize, basically, right? And it's amazing because you get so many people come in with their t-shirts. The beautiful thing is they wear those t-shirts around town for a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
So it's free advertising on the back of somebody. So that's a great game to play.
The key is it has to be a nice t-shirt. So there is some investment with it. I've had some t-shirts in the past that it's like, I would never wear this myself, so I'm not going to expect my patients to wear this either.
Yeah.
You put up a little bit more to invest in a nice t-shirt that's comfortable, that you know that they're going to wear.
Yeah, absolutely. And any other things that you found to work well with your therapists? You said you've done a little bit of training before in terms of like maybe when to ask for referral. Maybe how would you ask? Do you get them to ask for like a Google review or anything like that?
So what I coach my therapists is you're talking with your patients all the time, and your patients want to talk about their pain and they want to talk about their wins. So when they're talking about their wins, acknowledge their wins, but then acknowledge that physical therapy is helping. And then ask them, look, our mission here is to help as many people in our communities as possible. Who else do you know that we can help? And really, on a cognitive level, make them think. Don't just say, hey, tell your friends about us, or hey, send us your family if you ever have any problems, but actually make them think, who else do you know? And so then you have their eyes turn up in their heads thinking, okay, who else do I know that has these issues? Oh, my sister's got a shoulder pain that she's been doing. Can you guys treat that? Yeah, we can help her with that. Okay. And so we get our patients advocating for us. The other thing I talk to my therapist about is it's their responsibility to grow their caseload. So if they are low in their number of visits that they're seeing, then I encourage them to call past patients, to write a few letters to their patients. And then I incentivize them for that, whether it's a point system or a productivity level that they have to meet. If they're not meeting it with patient visits, then they can meet it a different way by other avenues.
Yeah, I love that you putting the power back in their hands, right, to control their schedule, control their productivity, control their income, right? If they're getting an extra bonus on top of that. And so for our audience out there that don't have necessarily like that kind of system in play in your practice, it's something to think about, right? How can you incentivize your therapist to keep their schedules full and want to do that? Well, if they can have some sort of bonus tied to that, that's really critical. And then helping them understand their participation in the promotion and marketing of the clinic, right? That they can do internally. And
even if you don't bonus it, if you just quote it, like let's say for a therapist, you wanted to see X number of visits. Well, if they're at X minus 7, well, then call 10 patients and see if you can't get a couple of them to come in.
yeah. Yeah.
So,
And I always brought it back to the why for my therapists, like,
right.
They don't like to say, hey, we're marketing or we're selling patients, right? It's different when you're a business owner, when you're a practice owner, but for the individual therapists, the way that we would always approach it is the why. Like, we're really trying to help people get better, right? And improve their function. So don't we want to help more people, right? And get their agreement that they do. And then, I want you to think about the patients that you like to treat, right? That are really participate. They want to come in. They like working with, like, do you want more of those types of patients, right?
Right.
And the best types of patients like that are usually referred, right?
Right.
They're usually sent by,
Right.
that kind of patient that you like. So if you work towards asking more for referrals, you get more of those kind of patients that you like to work with.
Correct.
So helping them understand that too is a key. But I think you're doing a fantastic job there, because you're really not trying to just do marketing as a segmented thing from the care, you're trying to involve the therapist as part, like everybody in the organization is responsible for marketing.
Yes.
Right? That's a great
Yes.
attitude to have.
Yeah. Yes.
I love it. And so, Billy, do you have any other thoughts for our audience here in terms of, how they should be, why they should be focusing on past patient marketing and things?
Well, going back to engage, I've always hit a wall with how many emails should we be sending out. And really, if you think about it in a marketing standpoint, let's sit down and watch a television show. How many times do you watch it in a Dodge Ram commercial? You'll see that same Dodge Ram commercial 3 times in a 30-minute time span.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want a Dodge Ram, you really enjoy those commercials. If you don't, you get up and you walk away. Same thing with physical therapy marketing. If I send 1-2 emails out a day to my patients, if you don't have any need for it, you'll scroll through or you'll delete it. But if you do have a need for it, you're going to click and open it, or you're going to send it to somebody that's having another issue. So keeping them top of mind has been key as far as the number of communications to a patient is really going to help to.
Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit more? That's curious. So how many times do you tend to email or mail?
We send out 1 or 2 a day to our past patients.
Fantastic.
Yep.
That's awesome. So this is really a great lesson for a lot of practice. I speak to so many practice owners that are afraid to send marketing to their patient list. They think that they're bugging them, right?
Yep.
And they might be sending something once a month.
Right.
So what do you have to say to those folks?
As long as you are staying agreeable with your patients and you're not sending emails that are salesy, which PTs don't like the word sales. As long as they're not salesy, where it's come in and see me, or here's 20% off if you come in today, or click now, come in today. Those are okay from time to time. But when I send out 2 emails a day, it's all, here's some information on shoulder pain. No ask. Here's some information on back pain. See our website if you want some more information. Like, that's all we're saying. It's just we're giving you lots of information.
Yeah.
And patients don't disagree with that. So they don't feel like you're overloading them with information or with emails when it's an agreeable email, right? Because it's just communication.
Yeah.
And they want to hear from us. They want more information, and it's just being given to them through their email.
Yeah. And I think one thing that just comes to mind as you're talking here is what I see time and time again with practices that struggle is that they don't correctly estimate the amount of effort it takes, right, to get new patients in the door, right? And if you're not getting the growth in your practice that you want, if you're not getting the new patients in the practice that you want, it's usually because you haven't correctly estimated the amount of effort it takes to get that in.
Right.
And that might be the size of the list that you're talking to, the right kind of audience, the amount of times you're talking to the audience. So That's a big thing that I see for practices is they'd hardly send enough marketing to their customer list. You're doing the right thing where you're sending a lot, right? But you're doing it in the right way where it's received well, right? And, it's informative and people like to receive it. So you're doing it the right way, but you're doing it with enough frequency. And that's, again, where people can get into trouble because they don't have enough right frequency. They haven't sent it enough times, like your Dodge Ram commercial, right?
Right.
In order to do something, you have to see it enough times for someone to take action. So that's another thing. If you are struggling in your practice, not seeing the new patients that you want, look at that. Are you sending enough marketing? Are you doing enough marketing out there to have the response that you want to get out of that? So great advice there, Billy. Really appreciate you on that.
Good.
Cool. All right. So thanks, Billy. Any final thoughts here before we wrap up?
Thank you guys for everything you're doing. Worked with 2 other marketing companies now and definitely seeing the biggest change since switching over to practice promotion. So I appreciate everything you're doing.
Oh, we love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to be part of your marketing team and help you in your practice. So thank you, Billy, for all your insights here and sharing your wisdom, and congratulations on your success in your practice, and wishing you much more success into your future.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again for joining us today. Be sure to check out practicepromotions.net/power. There, listeners can download over 9 checklists and free resources made to coach you through simple, proven marketing actions to increase new patients. So check it out today. That's practicepromotions.net/power, and I'll see you next time.